I like you guys, but the last thing anybody wants is you running wild in the neighborhood. Hey everybody, what's going on with all you homesteaders and homesteaders to be out in YouTube land? First off, I want to give a quick thank you to everybody who commented on the last video where we talked about whether or not Facebook hates homesteaders. We had some really good discussions going on down in the comments. We've got a lot of positive responses on our Instagram and Facebook feeds. It's one of those things where it's a topic of the moment. Some are considering it controversial, which it obviously should be. But we had some great discussion there. I'll put a link to that video up here in the corner if you haven't already seen that. And I'd recommend that you take a look at it and leave a comment down below if you have any feelings on it. Second, I just want to remind everybody to click that subscribe button down in the lower corner of this video. It'll be the best way to stay up to date with what we have going on. We try to keep our content unique across Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you're not following us on Facebook or Instagram, there's links down in the description to those. Now, the video for the day. How do we manage to keep our pigs in an electric fence here on our homestead? So by far the biggest question I see with regard to homesteaders raising pigs is, how do you keep them enclosed? There's lots of horror stories out there of homesteaders bringing home pigs and they put them in their enclosure and a day later the pigs are out and running around. That was certainly the biggest concern for us. Having never done pigs before, it was one of those things where you hear all the horror stories, but you don't hear the good stories. And we were pretty much resolved that our pigs were going to get out and terrorize the neighborhood and destroy the garden. And so far that hasn't happened. Not to say it won't happen. Knock on wood somewhere. But so far we've been doing pretty good. We've taken a couple overnight trips where we've fed the pigs, made sure they had food for a day or so, and took off and came back and the pigs were there. Obviously we let our neighbors know that we were going to be gone, and if they saw the pigs to give us a call and we'd figure something out. But so far it's been pretty straightforward. Our pigs don't challenge the fence, and I just wanted to do a quick video about how we set up this fence so that if you were thinking about getting pigs and you've heard all the horror stories about pigs escaping, we just want to show you that you can do it too. It's not that hard. So let's go put down some food for the pigs so that they'll leave us alone while I give you a little bit of an overview of their fencing. And yeah, let's go do that. This is where the pigs first came when we brought them home from the woman that farrowed them. Pretty straightforward. We have a 55-gallon drum with a nipple for water. Pigs built themselves a wallow that fills up when it rains, and if we have a stretch of hot weather, sometimes we'll fill it up as well for them. They have a pig house, approximately 4x8, filled with straw. And they have a feeder, which when we go away, we can fill that up for them. Otherwise, it stays empty. But the biggest thing here is that we electrified inside the hog panels. And what this did for the pigs was, as soon as we brought them home, it gave them a place where they knew not to challenge the hog panels. We find or have found that doing this as early as possible is the best way to do it. By teaching the pigs early on not to challenge the boundaries, what we're doing is we're actually giving them a safer environment. If the power was to go out, or if we were to not be around and something happened to the fence, they know that they shouldn't go near it. It's a visual deterrent from them. Obviously, even with it electrified, they could blast right through, but they're extremely smart animals and they know better. They don't want to get shot, so they stay away from the fence. So the pigs lived in that pen for probably the first month that we had them. Up until I would say about they were 3 months old total. We got them when they were 2 months old. And what that did was, especially by putting the orange flagging tape on the fence, it allowed them to have both a visual and the electric deterrent. Anytime they saw that orange flagging tape, they associated it with getting shocked, and they didn't want to. What that did for us was when we decided to put them out into the woods at 3 months old, we didn't have to do a full hog panel enclosure for their entire space. Hog panels aren't exactly expensive, but they're not necessarily cheap either, especially if you want to do a big pasture. For us, we wanted to do at least an acre with the ability to expand it over time. And it's really going to be cost prohibitive to you to put up that much hog paneling. It can be done, it has been done by other people, but for us it wasn't something we really wanted to incur the cost of. So we decided to train our pigs to electric early, get them very used to it, and then put them out on a pasture where they are only contained by electric. Our fence is using a combination of plastic fence stakes that you just step in. They're like $2 a piece at Tractor Supply. In the corners and along the roots, we're using T-posts that you have to hammer in. And the fencing material itself is a material called poly rope. You can get it at any farm store. And what it is a polyester rope that's been embedded with stainless steel fibers. Now, it's really a two-pronged approach to keeping pigs inside of an electric fence. The first is that you want to make sure that your pigs are well fed. If your pigs are well fed, they're not going to want to really leave the electric fenced-in area. Obviously, in our situation, they'll find roots and twigs and small trees and things like that to dig up and eat. However, we do make sure to feed them twice a day. We make sure that they're well fed and they're not necessarily going hungry. And because of that, they want to stay inside the electric fence. The second part of it is doing training maintenance with the pigs. The electric fence, every once in a while, they won't necessarily try to test it, but I will come out and I'll stand on the other side of the fence and essentially coax them to go near it. It doesn't do them any permanent damage to get shocked. And probably once a week, I'll come out and stand on the other side of the electric fence. They'll come over, they'll look at me, they'll say hi. Some of them will know not to go near the fence. They'll see it and they'll back up. But invariably, one of them will put their nose on the fence just to kind of retest it, and they'll get shocked. And what that allows is the other pigs will see that. Again, pigs are smart animals. The other pigs will see that. They'll know that the fence is electrified, that they shouldn't go through it, and that it's just something there that they don't want to go near. They don't want to go near it. They want to stay away from it. And invariably, it ends up keeping them contained. An often debated topic of electric fencing for pigs is how high do you want your wires to go? For us, it wasn't as big of an issue as a lot of other people because we had trained our pigs early on. They saw the flagging tape and they knew, I don't want to go near that, I'm going to get shocked. Nonetheless, 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches for your first strand off the ground is a generally accepted good level to put your electric fencing. The big thing to remember with pigs is if they're shocked in front of their eyes, they'll really back up. That's just their behavior. That's what they want to do. If they're shocked behind their eyes, they think something's behind them and they're going to run forward. This electrical fence, obviously, it doesn't provide a ton of, or any really, physical barrier for the pigs to just blow through. So you want to set your fence low enough where odds are it's right at their nose level. If they're going to run into it, that's where they're going to get hit. And that's what's going to pull them off. The other big thing is pigs aren't necessarily jumpers. When they're little, they can jump and move around, and there are videos out there of pigs jumping out of trucks and things like that. But by and large, they're not going to jump unless they really have to. So for us, we went about 18 inches up on our second strand. As the pigs get older, we can add a third strand if we want. We can move this one down a little bit. But so far, we've had the pigs out here for about a month. We got the strand at 8 inches-ish. Strand at 18 inches about, and we haven't had any issues so far. They've been contained. The first day we had the fence up, one pig did go through it. It got shocked on the way through, and because of that shock, it actually got scared and ran back to the pig house. So they do know that it exists. Electric is extremely good at keeping pigs in because of how intelligent they are. And for us, it just made the most sense. We're running them on the woods here, and we wanted something that was easily movable, easily expandable, and hog paneling wasn't the best choice for that. There are netting products on the market. Premier makes a great one. It's actually relatively inexpensive. Because of the forest that we're dealing with, that wasn't necessarily the best call for us. We're looking at clearing out some pasture area, and we might use something like that in the future. It's extremely easily moved, extremely easy to set up, but because of all the branches and whatnot that are around, it would have been a little bit trickier for us to use that. So we just went with 2 strands of electric wire. Another really nice thing about using 2-strand electric for pigs is that it's very easy to step over. You're going to go in and out of the pen pretty frequently to feed them, just to check on them. The electric netting products that are out there, they're a little bit taller, and you have to shut off the fence to climb over them. I guess you don't have to shut them off. You could try to get in there, but getting shocked between the legs is not really going to be a fun experience for you. So if you can avoid that, it's probably better off for you. With the 2nd strand being 18 inches off the ground, I just stepped right over it. So the last piece of the puzzle for your electric fence for your pigs is going to be the charger for the fence. It's probably the heart of the unit and one of the most important parts that you can have. So you're not going to cheap out on this. It is going to be a little expensive, but it's one of those units where if you take care of it over time, it's going to last you, and you're not going to have to go out every couple years and buy more.